Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time all the way to ancient Sparta to uncover a history that's less about glorious battles and more about the brutal, everyday reality of a Spartan soldier's life. Forget the movie heroes and the chiseled six packs you've seen on screen. Tonight, we're going to dim the lights and imagine what it was really like to be one of them from the moment your life was no longer your own. You're going to feel the cold stone floors under your feet, the constant ache in your muscles, and the gnawing hunger in your gut. Let me give you a quick reality check, though. You probably wouldn't survive a single week of what they went through. It was a life of relentless hardship, a kind of misery forged into a weapon. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're born, and for a few fleeting moments, you're just a baby, a tiny squalling thing wrapped in linen. But in Sparta, a baby isn't a miracle, it's a piece of state property. The moment you take your first breath, your fate is not decided by your parents' love or a wish for a peaceful life. It's decided by a council of elders, the Gerousia, who examine you with cold, clinical eyes. They're looking for flaws, a weak cry, a crooked limb, a soft constitution. They're not just checking for health, they're checking for utility. Can you one day hold a shield? Can you march for miles? Can you become a warrior? If you're found wanting, if you're deemed too fragile, your story ends here on a cliffside known as the apothete, where they leave you to die of exposure. This isn't a myth, it's a foundational truth of your world. It's a brutal, chilling custom that starts your life with the understanding that you are only valuable if you are strong. But you pass the inspection. The elders see a flicker of strength in your eyes, a sturdy frame, a potential warrior. You're deemed worthy of life, at least for now. Your first 7 years are spent at home, but it's not a normal childhood. Your parents are told not to coddle you. No crying, no tantrums. You're taught to endure pain and hunger, to fear nothing. They bathe you in unmixed wine, a test to see if your body can handle it. This early training is meant to strip away any hint of softness. Your world is already defined by discipline. You hear tales of other boys your age, boys who broke down boys who were seen as weak. You learn quickly that weakness is a death sentence, both literal and social. The phrase "Sparty" is a bit of a modern joke, but your childhood is anything but. It's a grim countdown to the day you will be taken away. That day comes when you turn 7. You don't get a party or new toys. Instead, you're ripped from your family's arms and thrown into the agoge, the Spartan, state-run education and training system. It's a shock to your system, a violent end to the only life you've known. You're now a member of a group of boys living in barracks, subject to the iron will of the paidonomos, the boy herder. There are no mothers here, no gentle hands, no warm beds. You are told to forget your family, to forget comfort, to forget everything you thought you knew about the world. From this point forward, your life is about one thing and one thing only: becoming a soldier. The agoge isn't just military training, it's a complete psychological re-engineering. The goal is to break you down and rebuild you into a perfect, emotionless killing machine. You're given a single garment, a tunic, for the entire year, regardless of the weather. No shoes, ever. You'll feel the rough ground under your feet, the sharp rocks, the scorching heat, and the biting cold. This isn't just about toughening your feet. It's about making you intimately familiar with discomfort. You are constantly hungry. Your food rations are intentionally meager, just enough to keep you alive. This isn't a mistake, it's a deliberate part of the training. They want you to learn to steal. If you get caught, though, you aren't punished for the theft itself. You are punished for being caught. It's a lesson in cunning and stealth and not getting caught by your enemies. It's a ruthless, practical education. The fear of a public flogging is a powerful motivator. Your days are an unending cycle of physical hardship. You run, you wrestle, you practice with a spear and shield made of wood, and you learn to fight with your bare hands. The older boys, the ones who have been in the agoge longer, are given authority over you. They are your teachers, your tormentors, and your first taste of the harsh social hierarchy you'll live in for the rest of your life. They're allowed to beat you, to bully you, to test your limits. This is a crucial element of the agoge. The system is designed to be a meritocracy of brutality. The strong survive and rise. The weak are broken. You learn to endure pain to hide your fear and to never ever cry. Crying is a sign of weakness, and weakness is something you can no longer afford to show. This constant hazing, this perpetual state of stress is what forges the famous Spartan resilience. Your education isn't just physical, you also learn to read and write, though your lessons are basic and practical. You're taught poems and songs that glorify valor, sacrifice, and loyalty to Sparta. There's no room for philosophy, art, or science here. Your mind is being sculpted just as much as your body focused on a single purpose. You learn to speak with the famous Spartan brevity or laconic wit. Your words are meant to be short to the point and often laced with dry, grim humor. The goal is to communicate clearly and efficiently without wasting a single breath. A popular historical fact you might hear about is the story of the Spartan mother who tells her son to come back with your shield or on it. It's a simple saying, but it captures the entire Spartan ethos. It's about victory or death with no room for surrender. A particularly strange detail of your life is the blanketless sleep. You and your comrades sleep on beds of rushes you gather from the Eurotas River. It's prickly and uncomfortable, and in the winter it's a miserable existence. You huddle with your bunkmates for warmth, but you are never truly comfortable. This is a deliberate part of the training meant to harden you against the elements and to teach you to find solace not in a soft bed but in the presence of your fellow soldiers. The cold is a constant companion, a physical reminder that your life is not your own. You learn to accept the cold, the hunger, the pain, and to see them not as suffering but as a necessary step on the path to becoming a true Spartan. You live in a state of perpetual hunger. A historical detail that often gets overlooked is just how meager your diet truly was. The famous Spartan black broth, a mixture of boiled pig's legs blood and salt, is a culinary legend of its own. It's notoriously foul. One story tells of a man from another city-state who tasted it and remarked, "Now I understand why the Spartans are so fearless in battle. Any man would prefer death to another bowl of this." It's a bit of a grim joke, but it speaks to the reality of your diet. You are a machine, and this food is simply the fuel to keep you going, not a source of pleasure. The hunger is meant to drive you to make you cunning and resourceful. You learn to steal food from nearby farms or from the mess hall, a risky but necessary part of survival. This detail, though, brings up one of the few historical debates about Spartan life. Some historians argue that the severity of the training, especially the food deprivation, has been exaggerated over time by other Greeks, who wanted to create a more mythical, unapproachable image of Sparta. Regardless of the exact details, the core truth remains: your life is a constant battle against hunger. Your body begins to change. The constant physical exertion, the meager diet, and the lack of comfort strip away all excess. You are no longer a boy. You are a lean, sinewy machine. Every muscle is honed, every movement is efficient. Your mind is sharp, your reflexes quick. You learn to be silent, to move without a sound, to anticipate your opponent's next move. You learn to fight not with aggression, but with cold, calculated precision. It's the difference between a wild animal and a predator. You are becoming the latter. This transformation is not a choice. It is the only way to survive. The weaker boys, the ones who couldn't adapt, have already been sent to a life of shame, branded as inferiors, or simply disappeared. You are one of the survivors. You are part of the elite, and you are just beginning. This relentless, brutal training continues for years. From the age of 7 to 14, you are a paidion, a boy. From 14 to 20, you are a mirakion, a youth. The training intensifies. The punishments become harsher. The responsibilities grow. You are no longer just learning to fight. You are learning to command, to strategize, to become a cohesive part of a war machine. The bonds you forge with your comrades are unbreakable. These are the men you will fight with, bleed with, and die with. They are your family now. They know your weaknesses, your strengths, your fears. You are a collective, not an individual. The word I is slowly being replaced by we. Your final test before becoming a full-fledged soldier is a harsh one. The agoge culminates in a series of final trials tests of endurance, pain, and skill. You will be pushed to the very brink of your physical and mental limits. You'll have to prove your worth not just to your superiors, but to yourself. This isn't just about a diploma or a graduation ceremony. It's about earning your place in the most feared fighting force in the ancient world. You are becoming a man, a Spartan man, and that means you are a weapon, honed and ready for war. And as you finally, at the age of 20, graduate from the agoge, you are not met with celebration. You are met with a new reality, a different kind of hardship, a life that is still not your own. A life dedicated to the state, to war, and to the endless, brutal pursuit of glory. But this is just the beginning. Your training is over, but the real test is about to start. You're 20 now. You've survived the agoge, that brutal 7 to 20-year training program, designed to strip away your identity and rebuild you as a cog in Sparta's war machine. Your body is a weapon. Your mind is a steel trap. And your loyalty is unquestionable. You are no longer just a boy. You are an iron, a young man poised to take your place in the ranks. But before you can fully join the Syssitia, the communal dining mess, and be recognized as a true citizen, there's one final dark rite of passage you must endure. It's a shadowy, terrifying test that will force you to confront the most brutal part of Spartan society. You are to become a participant in the Krypteia. The Krypteia is a secret police force, a covert operation made up of the most promising young men like you. You're selected for your cunning, your endurance, and your absolute lack of empathy. There is a historical debate about whether the Krypteia was a continuous institution or a special measure reserved for times of heightened tension. But for you, it is terrifyingly real. You are sent out into the Spartan countryside stripped of all possessions save for a dagger. You are told to hide during the day to survive on your wits and whatever food you can forage or more likely steal. You are a ghost, a hunter in the shadows. Your mission, however, is not to hunt game. Your mission is to hunt the helots. The helots are the enslaved people of Sparta, the backbone of your society. They are the ones who farm the land, produce the food, and provide the labor that allows you and your fellow citizens to dedicate your lives entirely to military training. They vastly outnumber you, perhaps by as much as 7 to 1, a fact that fills the Spartan elite with a constant, simmering paranoia. The Krypteia is the state's brutal solution to this problem, a way to keep the helots in a state of perpetual fear and to eliminate any who show too much strength or intelligence. You are not just a soldier, you are an instrument of terror. You spend your days hiding in ravines or thickets, your stomach growling with hunger, your body aching with cold. The hunger is familiar to you from the agoge, but this is different. This is a solitary primal hunger. At night, you emerge. You move like a shadow, your bare feet making no sound on the dirt paths. You watch the helots observing their settlements, their movements. You are looking for a target. You are looking for a helot who is strong, maybe a village leader, a man who stands a little too tall, a woman who speaks with too much fire in her voice. The more promising the helot, the more valuable the target. The message you are meant to send with your actions is a simple one. No one is safe, and any sign of rebellion will be met with swift and anonymous death. The moment of the hunt is a blur of adrenaline and brutal efficiency. You have been trained for this your entire life. You approach your target silently. There is no challenge, no glorious battle. This is not war. It is an execution. You move in the darkness, a flash of steel, and it's over. The helot you have just killed is not an enemy soldier. They are a person who was likely just trying to survive, maybe a farmer, maybe a mother. The kill is a chilling, a truly miserable and soul-crushing act that will stay with you forever, though you're told to push it from your mind. The act of the Krypteia is meant to prove that you are capable of cold, calculated murder, that you have transcended mere humanity and become a weapon of the state. An obscure historical detail about the Krypteia is that before they were sent out, the ephors, the highest magistrates in Sparta, would ritually declare war on the helots. This was a grim legal loophole. By declaring war, any killing that followed would not be considered murder in the eyes of the law. It was a formal sanction for what was in effect a state-sponsored campaign of terror. You carry this legal weight on your shoulders, but it doesn't make the act any less morally gray. It simply means that your society has institutionalized its brutality. You are not a criminal. You are a loyal soldier, a guardian of the state's fragile stability. This is a deep-seated part of Spartan society. There's a joke, a dark one, that a Spartan wouldn't know how to cook, because they had slaves for that. But the joke hides a terrifying truth. Your entire way of life is built on the fear and subjugation of a vast population. You may be a master, a citizen with privileges, but you are also a jailer, and your prison is the very land you stand on. The constant threat of a Helot uprising, particularly the Great Helot Revolt of the 460s BCE, is what justifies your entire brutal existence. It is the existential crisis that Sparta is perpetually trying to solve, and the crypteia is one of its cruelest solutions. This also leads to an academic debate. Some historians argue that the Helot problem was the primary reason for Sparta's rigid and militaristic society, while others believe that the militarism was already in place and simply used the Helot threat as a justification. You return from the crypteia a changed man. The experience has taken the last vestiges of boyhood softness and burned them away. You now know what you are truly capable of. You have seen the face of a dying Helot, a person who did nothing but exist in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is not a glorious memory, but it's a necessary one. You are a Spartan. You are a citizen. And now you are ready to join the Syssitia to take your place among the men who will be your brothers for life. But life isn't about just surviving anymore. It's about living, or what passes for it, in Sparta. The next stage of your journey takes you to the Syssitia, your communal mess hall. This isn't a warm and welcoming place like a modern mess hall. It's an extension of the agoge, a place of constant scrutiny, brutal honesty, and social pressure. You are now a full-fledged member of the group, but your position is not guaranteed. You must contribute a portion of your income primarily from your allotted land and the helots who work it to the communal pot. This contribution is a prerequisite for citizenship. If you can't pay your share, you lose your rights, a fate worse than death for a Spartan. The phrase, "if you can't pay, you can't play," might sound modern, but it's the grim reality of your life. It's a constant reminder that your status is not just earned through strength, but maintained through economic contribution, even in this seemingly egalitarian military state. You sit down at the table, a new face among the men. These are your friends, your mentors, your critics. The Syssitia is where you will forge the bonds that will hold the phalanx together. It is a place of endless banter-cutting remarks, and a unique form of camaraderie built on mutual hardship and shared suffering. There are no secrets here. Your successes and failures in training, your performance in mock battles, everything is fair game for discussion and critique. You learn to take criticism, to give it back, and to use humor as a shield against the endless verbal jousting. This is how you bond. This is how you learn to trust the man to your left and your right with your life. You're not just eating a meal, you're participating in a ritual that reinforces your loyalty to each other and to the state. And then there's the food. You're already familiar with the notorious black broth from your time in the agoge, but now you have to eat it every day with your brothers. Remember the joke about the foreigner who would rather die than eat the black broth again? It's not so funny now. You find yourself scraping the bottom of the bowl, trying to find a bit of meat, a bit of substance. But it's all the same, a tasteless, greasy concoction designed to be sustenance, not enjoyment. The lack of good food, of any luxury, is a core tenet of Spartan life. It's meant to keep you grounded, to ensure you never become soft, to make sure you are always ready to face hardship without complaint. It's a reminder that pleasure is a dangerous indulgence and discipline is a virtue. The Syssitia is also where the political life of Sparta unfolds. The men discuss politics, military strategy, and the state of the helots. You listen, you learn, you slowly find your voice. This is your education in politics, a far cry from the philosophical debates of Athens. It's a practical, no-nonsense education in how to run a state with an iron fist. You understand that your job isn't just to fight. It's to maintain the delicate and brutal balance that keeps Sparta afloat. You are a citizen, a part of the assembly, but your opinions are shaped by the needs of the army and the security of the state. There is no room for dissenting opinions or philosophical musings. There is only the Spartan way. You have survived the agoge and the crypteia, and now you have earned your place at the table. But the table, like everything else in Sparta, is just another testing ground, another battlefield in your endless war against softness and weakness. You are a man now, a full citizen, a soldier. and your journey is just beginning. You're a man now, a full-fledged citizen of Sparta. You've earned your place in the syssitia, the communal dining mess, and with it the right to vote in the assembly, and most importantly, the right to carry a shield and fight alongside your brothers. Your days are a rhythm of training, political discussion, and the grim camaraderie forged over bowls of black broth. But there's another aspect of life that you must now contend with, one that is as strange and regimented as everything else in Sparta marriage. In most other Greek city-states, marriage is a social affair, a chance for a family to forge alliances and for a man to find a companion. In Sparta, it's a cold, calculated transaction, a duty to the state. Your purpose is to produce more soldiers, more citizens, more loyal sons to fill the ranks. You are not a romantic. You are a biological resource. You don't get to choose your bride based on love or affection. The state, in its infinite wisdom, has already decided that for you, often based on a woman's physical fitness and the strength of her lineage. The woman you are to marry is also a product of a rigorous system. A Spartan girl who is trained in gymnastics, wrestling, and javelin throwing to ensure she is as healthy and strong as possible to bear children. The famous historical fact is that Spartan women had a level of freedom and physical training unmatched in the ancient world, all for the singular purpose of creating strong Spartans. The actual wedding ceremony is an odd, almost clandestine affair. Your bride's head is shaved and she is dressed in men's clothes. She is left alone in a dark room waiting for you. You, after a full day of training and eating with your fellow soldiers, must sneak away in the dead of night to meet her. There's no grand feast, no celebration, no romantic moonlight stroll. Just a hurried, silent encounter in the dark. It's a bit like a covert operation. The whole ritual is designed to prioritize duty over personal attachment. You are to treat your wife not as a partner, but as a tool for procreation. You are a soldier first, a husband second. This brief secret encounter is the entirety of your wedding night. You then return to the barracks, to your sleeping pallet, and to your brothers. This strange practice continues for years. You are not allowed to live at home with your wife. You continue to sleep in the barracks with your messmates, visiting your wife only under the cover of darkness. This is a crucial detail, a little-known fact that highlights the sheer weirdness of Spartan life. It's meant to keep you and your fellow soldiers in a constant state of readiness to prevent you from becoming soft by enjoying the comforts of a home and a family. It's also meant to keep your passion, your desire for your wife high. The secret nature of your meetings ensures that every encounter is a moment of heightened tension and excitement. It's a very Spartan way of balancing the need for procreation with the unwavering demand for military discipline. As the years pass and you hopefully sire a son, your role as a father is also dictated by the state. You rarely see your child. You are a distant, looming figure in their life, a specter of duty and discipline. Your son will be taken from you at the age of 7, just as you were to begin the agoge. Your wife will raise the children until that point, but her role is to prepare them for a life of hardship, not to coddle them. The whole system is designed to break the traditional family unit to ensure that the state, not the parents, is the ultimate authority in a child's life. This is the Sparta you live in, a state that demands your body, your loyalty, and even your bloodline. Your personal life is not your own. It belongs to Sparta. The constant focus on the collective over the individual is the key to understanding this society. This leads to a point of academic debate among historians. Was this unusual marriage and living arrangement truly about maintaining military readiness? Or was it also a way to control the population and prevent the rise of powerful family dynasties that might threaten the state's authority? Some scholars argue that by separating men from their homes and families, the state ensured that the loyalty of its warriors was always to the collective, not to personal interests. It's a question that, like many about Sparta, is difficult to answer with certainty, but the effects on your life are very real. You live in a state of constant separation, a kind of emotional distance that is both a product of the system and a necessary part of your survival within it. You are now a full-fledged soldier, a man in the prime of his life, a husband who barely knows his wife, and a father who will only know his children as future soldiers of the state. You are a perfect product of the Spartan system, a living weapon in a land of slaves. But the peace you enjoy is a fragile one, a peace built on the backs of the helots, and the constant gnawing fear of their uprising is always there, a shadow in the back of your mind. You walk through the streets of Sparta, your bronze armor gleaming, your crimson cloak a symbol of your status. The helots you pass avert their eyes. They are the engine of your society, the people who make your way of life possible. They are farmers, craftsmen, laborers. They are also your enemy, a conquered people who vastly outnumber you and harbor a deep-seated resentment. Remember that secret war the Ephors declared on them before the Cryptia. It's not just a ritual, it's a constant psychological warfare. You are trained to see them as less than human, as a constant threat that must be kept in check. This is the great paradox of your life. You are a soldier in a state of perpetual low-intensity conflict. The enemy isn't across the sea. It's in your fields, in your workshops, in your very homes. This constant vigilance, this ingrained paranoia is what makes you such a fearsome warrior. Your training isn't just about fighting in an open field, it's about being constantly ready for the enemy within. The famous phrase, "Maulon Labe," or "come and take them," is a great summary of the Spartan ethos in battle, but in your daily life it's more of a stay and be watched. Your life is a balance of terror and control. You know that if the Helots were to rise up, the resulting war would be a bloody and difficult one, a fight for your very survival. The fear of this is a constant motivator, a constant reminder of why you must be so disciplined, so brutal, so dedicated. The Helots are not just a historical footnote. They are the ghost that haunts the Spartan way of life. The fact that the Spartans never had a city wall is often pointed to as a sign of their confidence, but it can also be seen as a sign that their real enemy was not from without, but from within. This is a profound and terrifying truth, a truth you live with every day. You've survived the agoge, navigated the dark truth of the Cryptia, and now you are a man in your prime. You're a husband of a sort, and a citizen, and a soldier. Your marriage is a duty to the state, and your fatherhood is a promise of a future generation of warriors. The fear of the helots is a constant low-level thrum in the back of your mind. But there's a new chapter to your life, a new kind of hardship, a new kind of terror. This chapter is about the phalanx, the wall of men that is the ultimate expression of Spartan power and discipline. Your whole life you've been trained for this moment. Every run, every wrestling match, every public flogging, every meal of black broth was preparing you to stand shoulder to shoulder with your brothers to become a living, breathing part of a single, impenetrable unit. The phalanx isn't just a formation, it's a living organism, and you are a single vital cell. The very word for a Spartan shield hoplon is where the term hoplite comes from. That shield, your shield, is a crucial part of the phalanx. It's not just a piece of equipment, it's a symbol of your loyalty and your purpose. It's the one thing you are told to never ever lose. Remember the Spartan mother's famous command, with it or on it. She's not just talking about your life, she's talking about your shield. To lose it is to break the phalanx, to endanger the men to your left and right. It's an act of betrayal and admission of cowardice. You are not an individual warrior. You are a component of a larger machine. You train relentlessly not as a lone fighter, but as a part of a unit. You learn to march in step, to hold your position, to move as one. The man to your right is a constant presence, a source of stability, a physical reminder that you are never alone. You live and breathe with him, eat with him, and will likely die with him. There's an old joke from your world that a Spartan warrior didn't have much of a life, but he always had a great wingman. It's a dark kind of humor, but it speaks to the bonds you forge. The trust you have in the man next to you is absolute. You trust him to hold his position just as he trusts you to hold yours. The sound of the phalanx in motion is a terrifying thing. The rhythmic tramp of thousands of feet, the clang of bronze shields, the steady cadence of a marching army. It's a sound that inspires fear in your enemies and pride in your heart. You've heard stories of men from other city-states, men who break and run at the sight of a Spartan phalanx. This isn't just about the numbers, it's about the discipline, the unwavering resolve, the psychological terror you inspire. The phalanx is not a group of men. It is a moving wall, a tide of human flesh and bronze that washes over the battlefield. You are a part of that tide. Your life is not your own, but it is a part of something eternal, something that will be remembered in history for generations. A little known fact about the Spartan phalanx is that their famous red tunics and cloaks weren't just for show. The crimson color of your uniform was chosen for a very practical reason: it hid the blood. In the chaos of battle, a wounded soldier in a red tunic would not appear as badly hurt as he was, which would help prevent a panic from spreading through the ranks. It's a gruesome detail, a testament to the ruthless practicality of your military. Your appearance is designed to hide your weakness and to project an image of unwavering, unstoppable force. You are a weapon, and every part of you, from your shield to your tunic, is designed to serve a singular, brutal purpose. This brings us to a major point of historical debate. Did the Spartan phalanx's famous invincibility come from superior training and discipline alone, or was it also a result of the unique Spartan culture that prioritized a soldier's loyalty to the collective over his own survival? Some historians argue that the deep, almost spiritual bonds forged in the agoge and the syssitia were the true secret to the phalanx's success, a psychological advantage that was more important than any physical training. Other scholars point to the sheer professionalism and constant drilling that set Sparta apart. For you standing in the ranks, the answer is a little bit of both. You are a product of a brutal system, but you are also a part of a brotherhood, and that brotherhood is what holds the line. The man to your left is a man you've known since you were a boy, a man who has seen you at your weakest and at your strongest. That is a bond that no other army can replicate. The phalanx moves as one. Your shields are locked together, a bronze wall that protects the men on either side. You hold your shield with your left arm, which protects the right side of the man next to you. This is why you are so dependent on him. Your own right side is completely exposed. His shield is your only protection. It's a beautiful, terrifying testament to the Spartan philosophy. A man is only as strong as his unit. You are not protecting yourself. You are protecting the man next to you, and he is protecting you. It's a collective act of survival, a perfect illustration of the Spartan ideal. You are now a seasoned warrior, a man who has seen battle and survived. Your face is no longer that of a boy. It is the face of a veteran, etched with lines of discipline and hardship. You have tasted victory, you have seen death, and you have stood firm. You have held the line. But the most famous chapter of Spartan history is still to come. A story of a battle that will define your people, a story that will make your name famous throughout the ages. The story of a small force of Spartans and their allies standing against the vast army of the Persian Empire. The story of Thermopylae. The year is 480 BCE. The world you know is under threat. The Persian Empire, a colossal force led by King Xerxes, has set its sights on Greece. They are not coming in ships or small skirmishing parties. They are coming in a tidal wave, a vast army so large that as the stories go, they drink rivers dry as they pass. You've heard the numbers, hundreds of thousands of men from every corner of the vast Persian Empire. To you and your fellow Spartans, this isn't just a war. It's an existential crisis. The fate of your world hangs in the balance. Hangs. The other Greek city-states, those soft, philosophical Athenians, are afraid. They are looking to you, the Spartans, to lead them. Your city, with its reputation for unwavering courage and military discipline, is the natural choice. But the timing is terrible. The most important religious festival of the year, the Carnaia, is underway. It's a period of sacred truce, a time when all military campaigns are forbidden. For a people as pious and traditional as the Spartans, violating this truce is unthinkable. The oracle has been consulted, and the prophecy is grim: either a Spartan king must die or Sparta must be destroyed. Your king Leonidas, a man you've trained under and fought with, a man who knows the cost of duty, makes a choice. He decides to lead a small force of vanguard to hold the Persians at a narrow mountain pass known as Thermopylae, the Hot Gates. This isn't a force meant to win the war. This is a force meant to buy time to give the other Greek city-states a chance to prepare. This is a suicide mission, and you are a part of it. The army he takes with him is only 300 Spartans, all with living sons, and several thousand allies from other city-states. It's a ridiculously small force to face an empire, but your training has taught you that size is irrelevant when discipline and position are on your side. You march to Thermopylae, The journey is long and arduous, but your feet hardened from years of walking barefoot in the agoge don't even flinch. Your mind, trained to endure hardship, doesn't entertain fear. You arrive at the pass, a narrow strip of land between the mountains and the sea, the perfect place to neutralize the enemy's numbers. This is your home now, this rocky, desolate piece of land. You know in your heart that this is where your life will likely end. You've been trained your entire life to accept this, to embrace a glorious, bloody death in service to Sparta. The first few days are a blur of brutal, relentless fighting. The Persians throw everything they have at you. They send in their best, their elite forces, the immortals. But they are no match for your phalanx. Your shield is locked with the man to your left, your spear held steady. The pass is so narrow that only a few men can fight at a time, and the Persians are forced to attack in small waves, their numbers neutralized. The famous historical fact is that the Spartan phalanx was so effective that the Persians, despite their superior numbers, were mowed down again and again. Their armor is lighter than yours, their spears shorter. You are a wall of bronze and steel, and they are waves crashing against a rock. The ground quickly becomes slick with blood and littered with Persian bodies. The sight of so many dead is a gruesome one, but you are not a boy from Athens, you are a Spartan. You are trained to see death not as a tragedy, but as a necessary part of war. You joke with your comrades, your laconic humor, a dark shield against the grim reality of the situation. One of your friends, a man you've known since you were a boy, points to a Persian commander and says, "They're running so fast they must have heard about our black broth." It's a grim joke, but it gets a laugh, a moment of release in the middle of a slaughter. This is how you cope with humor and a quiet, grim acceptance. An interesting and little-known fact about the Battle of Thermopylae is that while the Persians were initially baffled by the Spartan fighting style, they also believed the Spartans were just resting. They were confused by the Spartans' practice of combing their hair before battle, a ritual meant to prepare themselves for their glorious death. To the Persians, it looked like a group of men simply preening themselves, not preparing for a fight to the death. This small detail highlights the vast cultural chasm between the two forces and the quiet, grim dignity with which you face your end. The battle rages on for 2 days. The Persian army is frustrated, their king is humiliated. They cannot break the line. But then on the third day, a local man, a traitor, reveals a secret path through the mountains, a path that will allow the Persians to flank you and your allies. You learn of this betrayal and you know your end is near. Your king Leonidas orders the other Greek allies to retreat to live and fight another day. But you and the 300 Spartans remain, along with a few hundred Thespians and Thebans, a testament to their loyalty. You stay not out of a death wish, but out of a profound sense of duty and honor. This is what you were born for, what you were trained for. This is your destiny. The historical debate around this moment is fascinating. Were the allies ordered to retreat, or did they choose to do so? Some ancient sources suggest that Leonidas ordered them away to save them, while others say they fled in fear. The truth for you is simple. You stay. You stand with your brothers. You are not a fool. You know you will die. But you also know that your death will be remembered. Your sacrifice will inspire a generation of Greeks. It will be the spark that ignites the flame of resistance. The final moments are a blur of chaos and valor. You are surrounded. The Persian arrows, which were a great threat to your lightly armed allies, are a constant rain. You are told a story that a Spartan soldier, when told the Persian arrows would blot out the sun, replied, "Good, then we will fight in the shade." It's a joke you remember now as the sky darkens with a storm of projectiles. You and your brothers fight to the last man. Your shield is broken, your spear is splintered. You draw your sword, a final desperate act. You are fighting for your city, for your people, for the very idea of a free Greece. You fall, but you fall with your shield, your face turned toward the enemy. You have fulfilled your destiny. You have died a hero. Your body will be recovered, a testament to your sacrifice. The monument that will be erected on this spot will be simple, with a single inscription that reads, "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie." It is a quiet, powerful epitaph, a perfect summary of your life and death. You were a man of few words, a man of action. Your legacy is not in the philosophical texts of Athens, but In the memory of your courage, in the memory of the day you and your 300 brothers stood against an empire and held the line. Your death, far from being a tragedy, is the ultimate triumph of your way of life. You have fallen, but your story is not over. The world did not end at Thermopylae. Your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your 300 brothers has done what it was meant to do. It has galvanized the Greek city-states. The war rages on, but now it rages with a renewed ferocity, a new kind of purpose. The Athenians, inspired by your stand, have evacuated their city, and in a stunning naval victory at Salamis have destroyed the bulk of the Persian fleet. The following year, the final decisive battle will be fought on Greek soil, a battle that will seal the fate of the Persian invasion once and for all. This is the Battle of Plataea. For you in the narrative of a continuous life, this is your second great test. Your first at Thermopylae was a glorious and final act of defiance. Your second at Plataea is a test of endurance and skill, a battle that will showcase the full might of the Spartan war machine. This time, there are no religious festivals to hold you back. This time, Sparta sends its full force, a massive army of hoplites, along with thousands of helots serving as light-armed troops. The other Greek city-states also send their armies, all of them united against the common enemy, all of them fighting under the leadership of the Spartan general Pausanias. This is a grand coalition, an army of Greeks united by the memory of your stand at Thermopylae. The battle itself is a long, drawn-out affair, a game of cat and mouse between the two massive armies. The Persian general Mardonius is cautious. He knows the reputation of the Spartan phalanx, and he is hesitant to engage you in open combat. For days, the two armies maneuver, each trying to find a tactical advantage. You and your fellow soldiers are a constant presence, a silent, disciplined force that holds the line. The hunger and the discomfort are familiar companions, but your training has made you indifferent to them. Your focus is singular, to hold your shield, to stand your ground, to wait for the moment of battle. An interesting and little-known fact about the Battle of Plataea is that during the initial maneuvering, the Greek armies, including yours, were dangerously low on water. Their supply lines were cut by the Persian cavalry, and they were forced to retreat to a more defensible position. This retreat, however, was not a planned, coordinated movement. It was a messy, disorganized affair, a moment of confusion that the Persians almost exploited. It's a detail that contradicts the image of the Spartans as an unflappable, perfectly disciplined force. Even the best armies can falter, and for a moment it seemed that the Greek coalition was on the verge of collapse. But it didn't. The Greeks regrouped, and you and your fellow Spartans held the line. The final charge is a sight to behold. The Persian cavalry, seeing the perceived retreat of the Greek army, rush forward, thinking they have a moment of weakness to exploit. But they are met not with a retreating mob, but with the full force of the Spartan phalanx. Your shield is locked with the man to your left, your spear thrust forward. The Persian charge is broken on your wall of bronze. The fighting is brutal, a chaotic melee of swords, spears, and shields. But your discipline, your training, and your unwavering resolve give you a decisive advantage. The famous historical fact is that the Spartans, under the command of Pausanias, fought with a ferocity and a skill that the Persians simply couldn't match. They were a force of nature, an unstoppable tide. You fight with a grim determination. You are not fighting for glory. You are fighting for your life, for your city, for the future of Greece. You see men fall around you, both Persian and Greek. You see the chaos and the carnage, but you remain focused. Your life is a part of the whole. Your survival is dependent on the man to your left and your right. You are a living testament to the Spartan way of life, a soldier, forged in a crucible of hardship and discipline. And now, in this moment, all of that training pays off. The battle turns into a rout. The Persians are broken. They flee, and you and your fellow Greeks pursue them, a relentless, unstoppable force. The battlefield is littered with the dead, a gruesome and final testament to the clash of two civilizations. You are a survivor. You have seen the full might of the Persian Empire, and you have defeated it. The war is over, Greece is safe. And you, a humble Spartan soldier, are a hero. This is a point of academic debate. Was the Greek victory at Plataea primarily due to Spartan leadership and military prowess? Or was it a true coalition effort with the contributions of the Athenians and other city-states being equally important? While Spartan sources and later historians often emphasize the role of the Spartans, the reality is that the Greek victory was a collective one. The Athenians' naval power at Salamis, the resolve of the other city-states at Plataea all played a vital role. But for you, a Spartan, the truth is simple: you held the line. You fought, you won. Your way of life, your brutal training, your unwavering loyalty to your brothers and to the state has been vindicated. You return to Sparta a victorious hero, a man who has helped save Greece. But your life does not return to normal. There is no parade, no fanfare. You return to the barracks, to the Syssitia, to the endless cycle of training. You are an aging hero, now a man in the twilight of his career. Your body, once a finely tuned weapon, is now beginning to ache. Your mind, once focused and sharp, is now haunted by the memories of the battles you've fought and the men you've seen die. But you are still a Spartan, and your duty is not yet done. Your legacy, however, is now set. You will be remembered not just as a man, but as a symbol of courage, discipline, and unwavering loyalty. You are a survivor, a hero, a Spartan. You have returned from Plataea a hero. The Persian threat has been vanquished and Greece is safe. But for you, there is no triumphal parade, no life of ease and celebration. The war is over, but your duty to Sparta is not. You return to the barracks, to the familiar taste of black broth, to the endless cycle of training. You are an aging warrior now, a veteran of battles that will be spoken of for generations. Your body, once a finely tuned weapon, is now beginning to show the signs of a life of hardship. Your knees ache in the morning, your back is a constant source of dull pain. The scars on your body are not just marks of battle, they are a timeline of your life, a testament to the fact that you have survived what others could not. But in Sparta, there is no place for a weak body, no room for a man who can no longer run as fast or fight as hard. This is the great tragedy of a Spartan warrior's life. You are trained from the moment you are born to be a soldier, but you are not taught what to do when the wars are over. A well-known historical fact is that the Spartans had a notoriously difficult time adjusting to peacetime. They were a society built for war, and a life without conflict was a life without purpose. You are a product of this paradox. You have achieved the ultimate goal of a Spartan life, a glorious victory in a great war, but there is no graceful way to retire. The agoge and the Syssitia have created a man who is a perfect instrument of war, but a clumsy and ill-equipped citizen in a time of peace. You are no longer a young man. The boys in the agoge look at you with a mixture of awe and pity. They see the scars, the slow gait, the quiet intensity in your eyes. They see the man they are destined to become, and for the first time you see a flicker of doubt in their eyes, a question that you yourself have begun to ask. What is the purpose of this life, if it ends like this with a slow, quiet decay in the barracks? The laconic wit and the brutal camaraderie of the Syssitia still exist, but for you the jokes now have a bitter taste. You've lost too many men, you've seen too much. The easy certainty of your youth has been replaced by a quiet, gnawing sense of unease. An interesting and little-known fact about this period is that many aging Spartan warriors who had no place in the peacetime army were given the role of military trainers for the younger boys in the agoge. They were, in effect, a living embodiment of the Spartan ideal, their bodies and their memories, a constant reminder of the glory and the brutality of war. You spend your days with the young boys, a ghost of a warrior, your stories of Thermopylae and Plataea, a part of their curriculum. You teach them not just how to fight, but how to endure, how to survive, and how to embrace the inevitability of a glorious death. You are a living history lesson, a warning, and an inspiration all at once. It's a job, but it's not a life. This is a point of academic debate. Did the Spartan system's inability to adapt to peacetime contribute to its eventual decline? Some historians argue that the rigid militaristic nature of Spartan society made it impossible for it to evolve. The constant training, the lack of a diverse economy, and the reliance on a slave population all contributed to a society that was an anachronism in an increasingly sophisticated Greek world. Other scholars point to a declining birth rate among the Spartiates, the full citizen class, as the primary cause of Sparta's downfall, arguing that the constant warfare and the emphasis on producing sons for the state ultimately led to a population crisis. For you, an aging warrior, the answer is simpler. You see the world changing around you. You hear stories of the Athenians, their artists, their philosophers, their theaters. You hear stories of a world that values something other than a shield and a spear. And you feel a quiet, bitter resentment. Your entire life you have been told that your way of life is the best, the only way. But now, in the twilight of your years, you're beginning to wonder if it was all for naught. The decline of Sparta is slow, a gradual fading of a once brilliant star. The wars continue, but they are no longer the glorious battles of your youth. They are smaller, bloodier affairs, wars against other Greek city-states, wars of politics and power. You are too old to fight now, but you watch the young men go off to battle and you see a change in them. They are not as disciplined as you were. They are not as loyal. The system that created you is beginning to fray. The sense of collective purpose is beginning to fade, replaced by a new kind of self-interest, a new kind of individual ambition. You see the cracks in the wall, the slow decay of the society you have given your entire life to protect. You are a man out of time. You are a relic of a bygone era. Your body is failing. Your mind is haunted by ghosts, and your society is slowly, quietly crumbling. You have achieved all that a Spartan could ever hope to achieve. You have saved Greece, you have lived a life of honor and discipline. You have died a glorious death at Thermopylae and survived to tell the tale at Plataea. But you have not been taught how to live. And that, in the end, is the greatest tragedy of all. You are a warrior in a world that no longer needs you, a hero in a city that is slowly forgetting what it means to be Spartan. Your story is now about watching the long, slow, quiet end of a way of life, a life you have given everything for. The glory of Plataea is a distant echo now, a story you tell to the young men in the agoge, a faded memory in a world that is moving on. You are a ghost, a living relic of a Sparta that is slowly, quietly dying. The rigid traditions, the unwavering discipline, the brutal simplicity of your way of life, these are the very things that are now causing your society to crumble. The decline is not a sudden collapse. It is a slow, agonizing decay like a grand old tree rotting from the inside out. And you, a man who has given his entire life to the health of that tree, are now forced to watch it fall. The primary reason for this decay, you come to realize, is your own people. The Spartiates, the full citizens, the men who, like you, were forged in the fires of the agoge, are a dwindling class. The constant warfare, the high mortality rate in battles, and a birth rate that couldn't keep pace are all contributing to a population crisis. A well-known historical fact is that the number of full-fledged Spartan citizens dropped dramatically over the centuries, from thousands at the time of your youth to only a few hundred by the time of Sparta's final fall. You see it in your own Syssitia. The number of men around the table is smaller now. The jokes are fewer, the camaraderie is strained. The feeling of being a part of an unbreakable whole is slowly being replaced by the gnawing sense of being the last of a dying breed. This leads to a point of historical debate that you and the other old men often grumble about in the Syssitia. Was the Spartan way of life too rigid to survive? Did the society that so expertly created a perfect soldier forget to create a sustainable civilization? Some historians point to the Spartan constitution attributed to the legendary lawgiver Lycurgus as a beautiful and perfect system that was simply unable to adapt to a changing world. Others argue that the entire system was flawed from the beginning, a society built on the brutal subjugation of the helots and the relentless pursuit of war. You and your friends just shake your heads and grumble. You don't have the words of the Athenian philosophers, but you have the scars, the memories, and the bitter taste of a life lived for a city that is no longer what it was. The helots. The constant source of your paranoia and your way of life are still there, but their role is changing. As the number of Spartiates decreases, the helots become more important. They are no longer just slaves. They are soldiers now, fighting alongside you in battles their numbers sometimes dwarfing your own. This is a terrifying and little-known fact that you find hard to accept. The very people you were trained to kill in the Crypteia are now your comrades in arms, a testament to how far your society has fallen. The rigid social structure that defined your life is beginning to crack, and you are forced to watch as the very lines between master and slave begin to blur. You see the slow decline in other ways, too. The famous Spartan discipline is fading. The agoge is not as brutal as it was in your youth. The young men are not as tough, not as dedicated. You see them complaining about the food, about the long marches, about the constant training. They are not like you. They have not felt the gnawing hunger of a 7-year-old or the cold of a blanketless night or the terror of the cryptia. They are a softer generation, a reflection of a society that is slowly losing its grip on the very traditions that made it great. The world is changing, and Sparta and its stubborn refusal to change with it is being left behind. The final blow to your way of life comes not from an external enemy like the Persians, but from a rival Greek city-state. Thebes, a city you once looked down upon, a city of farmers and poets, rises to challenge Sparta's hegemony. In the Battle of Leuctra in 371 BCE, the Theban army led by the brilliant general Epaminondas defeats the Spartan army in a stunning and decisive victory. This is the moment when the world changes. This is the moment when the myth of Spartan invincibility is shattered forever. For you, an old man in the Syssitia, this news is a death blow. It's not just a defeat in a battle, it's the end of a way of life, the final quiet admission that everything you have believed and everything you have fought for is no longer the truth. The years that follow are a slow, quiet, miserable end. You are an old man, and the world you knew is gone. You are a survivor, but you are not a victor. You are a ghost, a whisper of a bygone era. Your story is now a sad and quiet one, a story of an old man watching the world he gave his life for crumble into dust. The glorious battles, the unwavering discipline, the brutal camaraderie, these are all just stories now. Stories you tell to a younger generation that no longer understands their meaning. You are a relic, and your city, your Sparta, is a relic too. You have survived, but in the end, it is your way of life that has been defeated. Your life, the life of a Spartan soldier, has been a beautiful, tragic, and miserable one, a life lived for a glory that in the end was not enough.